Good morning, everyone. My name's Trevor LaFleche. I'm Vice President of Product Marketing at Dovetail. And my job over the next few minutes is really to explain to you where Dovetail fits in to the faster payments ecosystem and how we're helping banks address their real-time payments challenges. So Dovetail is all about delivering advantage. We provide best-in-class payments and liquidity management solutions that enable banks to simplify their infrastructure and deliver effective digital transformation. And I think Steve Ledford explained earlier, simplification is eliminating a lot of risk and a lot of problems, and I think that's a big focus when it comes to real-time payments. So why do we do this? We do this because essentially you have a problem. The weight of consumer expectations, the arrival of new real-time payment rails is stretching your infrastructure to breaking point. You're going to have to act, and you're going to have to do something. And if you react, all you're going to do is probably build another silo and build another legacy system and not address the underlying problems in your infrastructure. And you're going to deliver your customers a suboptimal payment experience. I've made some very simple slides for you today because I think at 8 o'clock in the morning it's going to be after a few of the drinks last night. Make it nice and simple for everyone. But life was simple. Only a few years ago, you pretty much had two systems. You had an ACH system, you had a wire system. These were monolithic systems built around a payment type, built around a payment rail for a very specific purpose. They weren't flexible. They didn't need to talk to each other. They were silos because essentially those payment types were silos. You didn't need to have everything come together. You didn't need to address the challenges of today. But the great thing about that equation was the costs were known and the revenues were known. And the revenues exceeded the cost, and the business case was pretty profitable. And consumers were willing to pay. They understood what they had to pay for a wire. They understood what they had to pay for an ACH. And they came in and they gave you the money, and the costs balanced out. Unfortunately, today, life is no longer simple. You have your ACH system that you've had to enhance to provide for the capabilities of same day. You have the TCH with a real-time payments platform. And the additional requirements or additional optional requirements for the request to pay, all of the AR capabilities and additional information that can flow across the network. You have Zelle with their messaging and their requirements for settlement, and you have your wire system, which are probably aging. So life is no longer simple. If you were to react to the challenges of real-time payments and stand up an individual system for each of these and address these tactically, the cost equation goes significantly out of balance. You have certainty of cost. You know it's going to take a lot of hardware, a lot of software, a lot of operations to stand up a capability to address the requirements of operating 24/7 by 365. Multiply that by a few new payment rails, throw in a distributed ledger technology that might happen in the next few years, and you have significant additional costs. But we see also uncertainty in revenues. I think, the example from about a year ago of somebody trying to charge $6.95 for a person-to-person payment shows the market is pretty much not going to accept that. It's the race to zero. So how do we address that balance? That is your challenge. The certainty of costs, uncertainty of revenue puts the industry in a very difficult place in trying to address the business case for going to real-time payments. But life could be simpler, and this is what Dovetail is all about. Life could be simple. Dovetail provides a platform, a payments platform, a payment hub, for lack of a better term, that you can put all of your payments capability. A payment is a payment. It shouldn't matter what standard, it shouldn't matter what format, it shouldn't matter what rules you have to address for the returns. Software is flexible enough to handle that in a modular system that you can provide all those capabilities in a very flexible way to your clients. Now, the one thing about that is this is a perfect nirvana of having one payment system handling all of that. And I think we all know we don't live in a perfect world. So what we always say is start small and grow. You have an immediate challenge to address and stand up some new systems. You might be perfectly happy with your ACH system. You might be perfectly happy with your wire system. But you have to do something, and you have two problems. It's not just TCH, it's Zelle as well, and they might serve different markets. You might have a different customer mix that might see those come on at different speeds. So Dovetail, you would implement this as a tactical solution, but with a plan in mind, with a strategy in mind to reduce your costs over time. And a number of our prospects are looking at eventually replacing their wire systems. There are developments in that world that may require you to look at renewing your systems, being able to put that and reduce the number of systems, and eventually grapple with the big problem of addressing the inflexibility of some of your ACH capabilities. So that's the problem solved, of being able to put all of this and really redress the balance of that equation, being able to reduce the number of symbols, reduce the number of systems, simplify, and then be able to provide that payment experience that allows you to keep the revenue streams that you're accustomed to. So you have a problem, Dovetail can help, and the way we do that is by enabling you to have a best-in-class payment and liquidity management solution to simplify your infrastructure and deliver effective digital transformation. Now, there's two pieces of research that we've done that might help you on your journey to real-time payments. The first is a global payments, instant payment survey, looking at the opportunities and challenges banks have, and looking at how they're addressing that. And the other one is looking at the value of instant, which is really looking at the revenue side of the equation and helping you build your business case. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you very much. Questions from the floor. This is your opportunity. Early on a Tuesday morning, after a very big party. I think the session's going very well with the audience participation so far. So, Trevor, it's interesting. You said that you have a situation in which you have certainty of costs, but uncertainty of revenue. And I think both of the presenters we've had here have said that the banks are asking this, tell me the use case, which you and I discussed before. Yeah. What is the potential here? I mean, if you think about Mark Zuckerberg, who very simply matched photographs on Facebook at the beginning, and it then became a platform for billions of people to quite literally live their lives through, and now he can sell whatever he can sell on Facebook. Yeah. What is the promise of real-time payments here? What could it be if people put the money in and invest as you think they should?
Well, I think as Steve mentioned before, I think this is really providing a platform for people to be creative. And I think in a number of markets we've seen, if we try to second guess and come up with every single use case, we're not smart enough, even collectively, to figure it out and go, this is what's going to win and this is what's going to. Nobody saw Facebook coming. It's really building that platform for people, letting people to be creative on top of it, allowing those frictionless payments to happen, but doing that on a platform that allows bank-to-bank movement of money rather than additional wallets. We have to provide that. That is what the customers are wanting, is a very simple, frictionless way of moving money.
But if you're going to drive it into commoditization, does the clearinghouse owned by the banks, and therefore arguably not having to make any money out of it in order to survive, does it have a major competitive advantage? Can the system drive other people out?
I think if we're going to compete on standards, I think that's the wrong way to compete. I think payments should be a commodity, but it's the value-added services you put on top of that that allows people to compete. If I'm making a payment to a new person, why shouldn't my bank offer me insurance on that individual payment, going, here's your consumer protection for a real-time payment? I think banks have to be very creative in the services they're offering their customers, and that's where the competition should be, and not at the network level.
Okay, Trevor, thank you very much. Trevor LaFleche joining us there from Dovetail.